I said at some point that I think you look at others the way you've been looked at. You look at yourself and you learn to look at others the way you've been looked at. So I really love when Julio was saying, sometimes he goes to the doctors and tell them, you need to go home now, go back to your family. I don't know what is, sustaining you in the enthusiasm to do a job as difficult and as beautiful, as precious as yours. But whoever is supporting you in that, you need to give time and space to those relationships. I find you have, because, we are rediscovering the wheel. Before being a professional, I am a human being. So I have in me what allows me to understand the other before my degrees, before my medical studies, before anatomy, physiology, and pathology. And I don't want all that medical knowledge, which I'm supposed to have, I'm grateful to have, to come on the way of just relating to the other in a human way. So I would say there's also a learning curve on it, So I've done mistakes. I had patients that was not able, to talk to properly. The first woman I spoke about, she did that without trying chemotherapy, to my great frustration. But I would say that's why your patients challenge you as a person. They force you to be well rooted and attached to those places, to those relationships, to those friends, to this dynamic relationship with God, if you have it, that sustains you as a person. I would say, first of all, you need to be human before you are a doctor or a good social worker. And just to give you a very simple example, once a year we have a conference to talk about these things with colleagues who are interested in sharing this type of experiences. That's why Sophia prepared her video for the Med conference of last year. You can find outside the notice about the event. And for me to every year to decide to go to this conference, to share this type of experiences is key. Sometimes I say, do I really need that? I have so much work to do. But at some point, if you lose the meaning of why you're doing things, then you might as well not do that.
What do you say to a person who has a situation and they go to a doctor, and this doctor is brilliant but has no bedside manner? This doctor tells them, he can cure them, and he has absolutely no bedside manner. Then they have an opportunity to go to another doctor who's very kind, sweet, but people have said, well, he's not the best doctor. Doesn't know his, he's not the best in his medicine in his field. You're better off with the other doctor who really does well, and the person has a struggle. So I'm a counselor, but in elementary school. But this parent came to me, and it was a very interesting question. And I've been thinking about it, What do you say to a person with that situation?
Is it for me? I would imagine to talk to him too. No, I would say, even within our department, sometimes there are people getting upset at their doctors and they want to change doctors. It happens. When someone comes to me and says, I'm fed up with this doctor, he was so angry with me, he was in a bad mood, I heard he's not the best doctor in the world, obviously. And just kidding. I spoke to Sophie, it's a disaster. No. So let's say someone comes to me and says, I'm there to change for you to be my doctor. I always invite them, first of all, to try and make their relationship that they already have work better. I tell them, and this happened to me more than once, so I tell them, this doctor that is taking care of you is a very good doctor. I can review your file, I see no faults, no mistakes, so you are being taken care of properly, but I do understand your need for a more effective communication with the doctor, for a more, for a better complicity with your doctor. Oncology is a very specialty because we have very long-term relationships with our doctor. So I could stand the specialist doesn't speak to me if I have to do a surgery once in a lifetime. But if you talk about oncology, like getting chemotherapy and treatments for like 5 years and then being accompanied to die, you might want to have a good relationship with your doctor. And So again, I would say it's like I mean, you're not married to this doctor, so obviously if you want you can change doctor, but it's like in any relationship, you need to do your part to make it work. So maybe he looks like he's not in a rush, so he has no time to talk. But if you ask him questions, he has to answer. If you say, I didn't understand in your field, he has to answer. And so why don't you also make your effort to try, and then the other thing I have to remind these patients about the humanity of the doctor. Because, you know, like, no one is perfect. I myself, you know, I failed patients sometimes. I wasn't able to, you know, to keep up with the amount of work. You know, I had patients felt betrayed and I didn't have time to go and see them. And, you know, so none of us is perfect. Like, no husband is perfect, but somehow you found a way to make your marriage last long enough. Why can't you find a way to make your relationship with the doctor last? Why don't you come up and ask what you need? And I had more than one patient coming back thanking me for how this advice had changed the way they could interact with their doctor, and they could, and also in terms of the continuity of care, it was probably more adequate for them to stay with the doctor that knew that situation better than me. But again, at some point, you know, the patient has also the freedom and the responsibility, or we say, also to structure things the way that, you know, that suits him or her. So if there is a constant, you know, lack of trust, and, you know, if it seems to be like an unsolvable problem, you know, the patients will change doctor, and you know, they'll be also reasonable. Again, maybe in oncology I have a very biased point of view. Again, it's a very particular specialty. But I think there is much more than the physical care, you know. Again, if it was for a surgery, you know, go to the expert and you don't have to become the best friend and that's it, you know. But if you are looking at a chronic relationship, I think it would be reasonable to look for someone that you can click with and be at ease with. Having said that, and then I shut up, one thing that I also see in the residents, for example, you know, sometimes the residents are very brilliant, they think they know everything, they're super dynamic, and then you say, wow, you know, or even colleagues, you know, you say, wow, this colleague is so confident, like he knows what he's doing, he's super efficient, but I find that efficiency is much more a result of caring for the person than even how quick you are at doing things or fixing, you know, seeing 20 patients in 2 hours. So what I'm trying to say is that what I see also in the residents, that in the long term, genuinely caring for a person that you take care of is what forces you to learn more than even if you are initially the most brilliant and sharp doctor that, you know, that everyone is in front of. So I don't think the two things are that much in alternative. If the doctor really cares about his patients, you know, this care should be motivated to become, you know, the most competent in what he's doing. No? She's a nurse, so she knows.
I think, excuse me, 1 minute. I agree, of course, with him. My experience in Italy, I don't know, but there is also a cultural problem in general. What does it mean? People, me too, I live in this society, okay? We don't able to recognize our limits. Of course, I can say this in front of sick, I'm not so stupid, obviously, but in general, we are not habit to recognize our limit. Our limit is our nature. Sometimes we can, unfortunately, get sick. And then, okay, it's true, the doctor is a man like me, with his power, with his fear, with anxiety, with his problem for his family, for example. For this reason, step by step, I think our responsibilities in front of other people also change our culture. Culture is correct? Yes. Because, okay, we are in the Houston, there is the biggest medical center in the world, I know. But always, in my disease is science, clear science about my limit. My life is not, okay, is without ending, but through the moment of death. very difficult, of course, accepting their situation, their disease, especially cancer, oncology. But I think also this problem are not a solution. I have a solution.
Thank you. I think we have time for one last question. Is there a question? I'm going to pick on the nursing student. Sorry.
Okay, so my question is for whoever wants to answer. I personally experienced a patient who was at DNR status, DNR resuscitative. Pretty much in a very general sense, how do you approach that person and how do you give them a sense of hope?
So your question is how we give a sense of hope to someone who
Pretty much this,
is a terminal,
yes.
you know,
Patient which pretty much is, I don't want to say abandoned, but was in a assisted living house, pretty much. Her children did not really spend time with her. She wasn't really seeing her family often at all. So she was in a very depressed state where she really would ask me, hey, I want to go. Help me go. Pretty much she was telling me, help her with her death. But, pretty much in that state, how do you give them a sense of hope, a sense of happiness? I mean, I could only do so much, staying there for 3 hours, 5 hours with her, talking to her, reminiscing about her past, her children. But even going back to her children, she would be constantly reminded of, hey, they don't visit me, they don't bring me my grandchildren, they don't spend time with me. So, when a person in a very, I don't want to say dark, but pretty much that's the only way I can put it, in a dark state, how can you give them a sense of hope?
so again, I think hope can come only from reality. So you need to have that the only contribution you can give to this person is to see what is there. And it becomes a challenge because more and more, I think, we're going to face situations where literally it seems that there is nothing for this person to do for. The whole concept of palliative care, as you know very well, is born by the idea that the fact that we cannot add time to the person's life doesn't mean that there is nothing more to do for this person. I hate the term there is nothing to do. Like, this is crap. Like, it's really like untrue. And there are places where, this person is terminal, so we don't even go and see this person. This is like the dehumanization of what our profession was born for, and in a funny way, the reason why Sophie was so tempted by the idea of going back to palliative care is how safe, how welcoming that place is, truly, So I could also understand why it was almost a temptation for her to say, I want to go back to the place, because in the place I feel at peace. I'm saying a few different things maybe here, but the point is that I don't think that, as you in your example you say very well, I don't think that the quality of life or the presence of lack of hope is proportional to the quantity of life that is ahead of you. My friend Carla, just to go back again, maybe you say it's an exceptional example, but I've seen few people being like at the end of her life, in the very last days, she was ready, she was at peace, she had actually hope. She was looking for, because she was also a bit impatient, right? So I said, why am I not ready? Come on, like, why didn't she? So even she had to accept to go beyond the lack of patience that characterized her all the way to the end. I think the very last day she said, I'm ready. Whenever he wants, I'm ready. I'm looking forward to meet Jesus and my parents. I'm really ready. And again, you could see it was not a formality. It was a hope, like Don Giulio said before, that invested also the life after death, the way we know it. There might be patients that don't have the chance to do this experience like this in this life. But these questions, first of all, what is your certainty? When you look at this woman, what do you see? No? So I don't think, in a sense, I don't think that it is her problem. But the moment she touches you, it becomes your problem. It becomes it's your problem to answer this question. When you look at her, what do you see? Is she the result of her failures? Or is she someone that has something to tell you? Is she someone that you can have an interest for? And you understand very well, patients in that situation are not up for formalities. So if you spend your 15 minutes extra out of kindness or out of duty, it's very nice of yours, but I don't think you're giving a true contribution. If you don't let the other person touch you, which is something maybe that is also discouraged sometimes in medical school. But, and again, the other point that we say, which is very true, I find, even both in the positive and the negative way, I think it's clear that the hope is proportional to how accompanied someone is. We may be facing a time where doing our job might be more difficult. Again, I work in a province where euthanasia now is legal. And then generally, again, I don't want to be ideological about that, but I generally really think that euthanasia is an answer to the loneliness of our society, to how many people are just alone. And I find it a very unsatisfactory answer for me. You can advocate in favor in the name of the freedom of conscience, but truth is, someone who's not alone very seldom, asks to die. And so the problem of this person is not how many days she has left to live, but what is she living for today. And again, I think you can start communicating with her if you start asking yourself this question and sharing with her your experience and asking yourself, okay, but who is this person for me? When you look at her, what do you see? Because hope is not that, again, can only come from reality. So maybe, so you can help her find hope if you can help her see something in reality that is for her. Whether it's herself, the fact that she's alive, the fact that you are there, whatever else. And you cannot foster hope out of the feelings of life.
Close by saying the desire for happiness, the heart of the provider, and that of the patient are the same. Unity can be restored if we as healthcare providers are a reference point for the patient by first becoming human beings ourselves. A human being is someone interested in meaning. Providers concerned with human beings who search for the meaning of their suffering, the nexus of their life with destiny. Crossroads warmly thanks Father Prosecchio, Dr. Ferrario for spending time with us today, Dr. Aquila, Dr. Ferrari, Dr. Church, the University of St. Thomas and the Academic Affairs, and the PD School of Nursing for their generous support and collaboration. I'm very excited to announce our next event will be held on November 29th, called Theology and Sound, a small concert and commentary featuring guest Houston Symphony First Chair violinist Ferenc Mini. So stay tuned for more details. Please keep your business card and make sure you sign up at the registration desk with your name and if you're interested in Crossroads and to become get on our mailing list. There you'll find information about Crossroads. You'll find information about the next conference, which is actually on burnout in a few weeks. Without your gracious donations, events like this would not be possible. So if you can spare a nickel or two, thank you so much and have a good night.